Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Happy Wednesday. Come on in. Come on in. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope everyone is doing well. Okay, interesting. All right. So, I hope everyone's week has been going great so far. Mine has. Let me grab some water really quickly. Give me like 10 seconds. All right, I am back. I have to grab some water. I had to grab some water. So, anyway, I wanted to start a new series here on my channel. A new series. I'm still playing around with the title or the name of this series, but I wanted to bring to you all a series in which I'm sharing information that has esoteric, occult, magical, or strong or astrological foundations, right? Because there's so much of the world, so much of what happens in the world, what's going on around us. There's energy in a lot of what's happening around us, right? Um, and some things that we think are innocuous, or there are things that we think just came about, just so happened to be. And while that is the case, there is a lot of life, a lot of society, a lot of things that we are familiar with that absolutely have either astrological, esoteric, or occult, spiritual, magical foundations, backgrounds, right? Things were thought about when things occurred, when things happened, right? So I wanted to start a series where I just share this information with you all, because I want you all again to understand that the powers that be, tell us one thing, but the powers that be, are always doing something else in the background. And a lot of things are hidden in history. And, we just, they come up with reasons for things that make sense. But when you look into the occult information, and occult is just a word that means hidden, right? It doesn't mean evil, it doesn't mean devil, it doesn't mean devil worshiper or Satan. Occult just means hidden. When you peel back the layers and when you look at things, a lot of times there's some spiritual, esoteric base for a lot of things that happen. So today is going to be the first episode of this stream. So before we get started, and we will not be here long, but before we get started, please do me a favor, hit the like button. Okay, hit the like button. All right, because we're gonna get into some information. We're not gonna go, deep underground, but I was looking into some stuff today, and I was just like, that absolutely makes sense. So let me shout out my people: Sleepy B, CS, Miss Treat Moon, Sanders. Hey girl, how are you? Growing Process, the Honorable Leg Jewelry. I love that name. Dimples Wimples. Hey girl, how are you? Sexy RN. CN1. Yes, hit that like button. Hit the like button. And I don't know how I got on this today. Nope. Never mind. I remember. So me, I was checking my stock today. I have stock. I have a lot of stock. And the stock market, it goes up, the stock market, it goes down. And something told me to kind of investigate a little bit. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to investigate just a little bit. Okay. We're going to investigate just a little bit. And I'm going to show you some things that, is it a coincidence? Probably not, right? Because people do things with purpose, and everything that people do, that there's usually meaning behind it, right? There's meaning behind it. There's purpose behind it. We're doing things for a reason, right? So let's get into some of the information around the stock market. Like I said, we're not going to go deep. We're not, going into rituals or anything like that. But I will say that it actually makes sense. So let me bring up this page here. All right. Hit share. No, we're not inviting guests. I just want to share. Share screen. Window. Tab. Let's go here. All right. Yes, hit the like button. All right. So here we're on the page, the history of the stock market. This is a page. I was just like, okay, let's look into it. Okay, let's look into it. This is NYSE.com. So New York Stock Exchange.com. So this is its own webpage, right? This is its own webpage. We can see that right there. Let's look into a little bit of this. Okay. So the New York Stock Exchange, okay, traces its origins to the Buttonwood Agreement signed by 24 stockbrokers on May 17, 1792, as a response to the first financial panic in the young nation of the United States. So this is after the United States has been established as its own country, separate and liberated from England, right? There have been financial trading happening, but this right here, May 17, 1792, is when things became official for the New York Stock Exchange. Now, there was a stock exchange already operating. It was the Philadelphia Stock Exchange, but the Philadelphia Stock Exchange was bought by NASDAQ. So technically, it's not even in existence anymore, but the New York Stock Exchange is in existence. So again, we can see here, the origins trace to the Buttonwood Agreement signed by 24 stockbrokers on May 17th, 1792. Okay. So we have this agreement. This is a picture here of the agreement. And let me see if I can pull up the actual agreement. The actual agreement. Is there a picture of it? I think I saw it. And I have so many tabs open. Okay. So okay, I don't have the actual agreement, but you can kind of see it over here on the side, the original Buttonwood Agreement. There were 24 people that signed this. So I decided to do what I do. Let's create an astrology chart to look at the energies of this day. So let me share the chart of lay agreement. All right, here we have it here. This is the Buttonwood Agreement. We just saw the date, May 17th, 1792. And the New York Stock Exchange, of course, has occurred. New York City, New York. Okay. One of the things that I found very, very interesting for this chart, and I have seen some people say that the agreement was signed at 11:10 in the morning or 7 something in the morning. We're gonna stick with noon. We're gonna stick with noon. Q. What why is this important? This is important because I want you to look at the top of the chart. I want you to look and see where some prominent energies were during the time of this agreement. We can look and we can see here. Okay. Now let me just move this over. If we're looking here, the midheaven, okay, which is important in astrology. We're talking about angular planets and whatnot on the angles. Those are important energies. So, but I want you to see we have us a little we have a little Taurus stellium going on here. Now, does anybody know where I'm going with the energies of Taurus? Does anybody know? Go ahead and take a guess if you think you know where I'm going with this. Because a lot of things are right in our faces, but if you don't know what you're looking at, and if you can't pull up the energy, if you don't know what you're looking at, then you can't trace the energy. Anybody want to go for a stab here? So, being that there are no takers, this is the zodiac sign Taurus. Taurus is what? What animal? What animal? Okay, I see growing process wants to take a stab at it. She said hibernation and snacks. No, not quite. Not hibernation and snacks. When you think about the financial markets, when you think about the stock market, you're thinking about the ups and downs. Boom, there it is, right there. CS got it. The bull. The bull is a symbol of Wall Street, of the stock markets, no matter which one you're talking about. It has been, as I'm speaking for the United States, in the United States, the bull, even though they use the term bear market, bull markets, when you go to New York and you are in Wall Street, you are in the financial district, there is a statue of what? A bull outside. There's a bull outside. So the Buttonwood Agreement, which is what, established formally the New York Stock Exchange, is a Taurus sun sign. A Taurus sun sign. Not only is it a Taurus sun sign, it is a Venus Taurus, right? We have our good sis, Venus up here, and Mercury. So the midheaven, we're just going to use this 12 o'clock designation. The midheaven in Taurus, the sun in Taurus, Mercury in Taurus, Venus in Taurus. Wall Street has a statue of a bull outside. Taurus, the zodiac sign whose animal totem is a bull. You can't tell me that this is just all coincidence. I don't care what you say. The symbolism, it's there. It's there. Okay. The symbolism is there. Another thing I wanted to point out about this chart is if we look right here, Jupiter, okay, Jupiter's in the sign of Libra. Libra, an air sign, is ruled by what planet? Venus. And Venus is in Taurus. Venus is in Taurus. Venus is in Taurus. We can look at the ascendant. Like I said, we're just gonna go with this 12 o'clock time. The ascendant, okay, Virgo. Virgo is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is in Taurus. What a coincidence. What a coincidence. I find it ironic that we have this coincidence right here. Another thing I wanted to look at is looking at the square. Okay, looking at the square, and I mean, here we have this square here. It's funny because a lot of what happens, okay, for people who do not participate in the stock market, you don't have stocks, you don't have bonds, you're not a day trader, you don't purchase futures, you don't, government bonds, you're not doing any of that. But I want you to see how this is at square with Pluto. This is Pluto in the sign of Aquarius in the sixth house. The sixth house is the people, the everyday people, the workers. So, this New York Stock Exchange, which is quote unquote, yeah, we have Standard and Poor's, but the New York Stock Exchange being officially founded on this day, look at how it is at odds with society, with the people, with power that people could have, should have, don't have, because we absolutely have this square in between everything that's happening up here and this right here. The everyday worker, the power of the people, the body of the people. What is a lot of the commentary now on social media? Eat the rich. Billionaires shouldn't exist. There's a whole lot of scamming going on, right? Hiding things in the stock market. Yes, there are penny stocks and people can buy penny stocks, but the heavy hitters that are making the money, they're not the penny stocks. Okay, those are your Standard and Poor's, your um companies and businesses on the New York Stock Exchange. Okay, because you're going to need some coin to buy however many shares it is that you want of whatever stock, right? Where you're going to get your return on investment. So I found that very, very, very interesting. I found that very, very interesting. So, is everybody with me? Another thing that I was just like, this is interesting. Looking at the terms bear and bull market, where do they come from? Okay. Where do they come from? So let me share this because I was kind of looking around, I was kind of being nosy. Let me share this with you. Share screen. That. So these are our good friends over at the Merriam-Webster Dictionary. Okay, Merriam-Webster Dictionary. And this is the history of bull and bear markets. And according to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, this isn't me making anything up. According to them, it started with a proverb about selling bearskin. Okay, and it's talking about the jargon of stock market traders. A bull is someone who buys securities or commodities with the expectation of a rise in price, right? You're buying, the point is we're here to make money. We're about our money. The bear market is when the market goes down. You're selling, something is wrong, you don't have any trust in it anymore. So we have the animal imagery of a bull and a bear. But again, the bear is not at Wall Street. There is no statue of the bear. Everybody who buys into the stock market, you want your stocks to go up so that you can make money, so that there is a return on your investment. So let's look. So, and here's the picture right here, the same picture that's outside. And let me make this a little bit bigger so you all can see it a little bit better. This is the bull. Okay, this is the bull outside Wall Street. Okay, so let's look. They said that the bear came first. Etymologists point to a proverb warning that it's not wise to quote sell the bear's skin before one has caught the bear, end quote. Okay, so that is, it's not wise. You could lose money if you're betting on things and you don't really know what's going on. So that's the bear. Now, they said at about the same time, this is in the 1700s, another animal symbol made its appearance in the marketplace. The term bull originally meant a speculative purchase in the expectation that stock prices would rise. The term was later applied to the person making such purchases. The animal seems to have been chosen as a fitting alter ego to the bear. Thus, poet Alexander Pope wrote in 1720, "Come fill the South Sea goblet full, the gods shall of our stock take care. Europa, pleased, accepts the bull, and Jove with joy puts off the bear." Why is this important? Why is this important? Hey, Isis. Hey, Fuzzy, Alvin. Okay. Why is this important? Hey, D-Dub. Hey, Sweet Ace of Silhouette. This is important because are you all beginning to see some of the esoteric ties to this? The gods shall of our stock take care. Gods. Paganism. Okay, for those who are Christians, there's the Christian God, right? There's the Christian God. This says gods. This absolutely says gods. We don't, how many of them we don't know. We don't know how many gods, but gods, plural. Okay. Shall of our stock take care. So they're spiritual alliances, gods, the stock, they're going to take care of it. Europa, pleased, accepts the bull, and Jove with joy puts off the bear. Who is Europa? Does anybody know who Europa is? Europa. Okay. Let's look at it. Let's look at it. Let's share this tab instead. All right, so we're here. Europa is the Phoenician princess abducted by the Greek god Zeus, who transformed into a white bull. So these are the ties to the Greeks and Romans. They were pagans. The Greeks and Romans, they were pagans. Okay, let's go to Wikipedia. Okay. She was the mother by Zeus. Okay. They said she was the lover of Zeus. No, no, she was she was stolen. She was stolen. So that poem about, if we're going back here, Europa, please, accepts the bull. Europa, please, accepts the bull. Became a wife of Zeus, king of the gods. Now, Zeus is Zeus is chief of the gods, the main one, the big one. This is Greek mythology. Do we know do we know who the Roman counterpart of that is? This isn't my poem. Yep. Yep. Sleepy B says Jupiter, right. So Zeus is Greek. Jupiter is Roman. So clearly talking about these gods and goddesses. And remember, we just looked at the chart. Jupiter in this Buttonwood Agreement chart, Jupiter is in Libra, which is ruled by Venus, who's in Taurus. Okay. So we're getting these names, these gods, these associations, these esoteric connections. They're starting to show up. Okay. And Jove with joy puts off bear. Jupiter is Jove. Okay. Jupiter is the planet of expansion. Jupiter is often associated with money. Okay. Money, expansion, growing things, the same thing that people who are buying into the market, they want their money to grow. So just like, okay, so who the hell is Alexander Pope? Whose man's is this? Whose man's is this? So, of course, I went looking around. And this is the page Masonry Today. Okay, I went looking around. Alexander Pope, Freemason. Alexander Pope is a Freemason. Okay, there is always surface level, and then there are the deeper levels. Alexander Pope was a Freemason. Mhm. Alexander Pope is a Freemason. Okay, let's make this bigger so everyone can see. Okay. He was a Freemason. He taught himself languages, including French, Italian, Latin, and Greek. Okay, nothing wrong with that. Okay, okay. But he was a Freemason. He was a Freemason. Okay. Pope was a member of Lodge 16 in London, England. It was a short-lived lodge, meeting at the Goat of the Foot of the Haymarket Tavern in London. He was a Freemason. So we got this Freemason who wrote this poem talking about, right? This Freemason who wrote this poem talking about the gods shall of our stock take care. Europa pleased accepts the bull, and Jove with joy puts off the bear. You're like, okay. Mhm. I'm like, okay, cool. What else can we find out? What else can we find out? Okay. What else can we find out? So, I did a little bit more digging, and I was just like, okay, so cool. Cool, cool, cool. We got the New York Stock Exchange officially founded May 17th, 1792. Okay. And it's called the Buttonwood Agreements because the 24 people who signed this agreement to trade with each other, right? They can be secure in trading with with each other, right? It was called the Buttonwood Agreement because they would meet at noon under the branches of a buttonwood tree in Lower Manhattan. Okay? In Lower Manhattan. Okay? So that's why it was called that, because they literally made this up. They decided to do this underneath the buttonwood tree. So yeah, I was just like, okay. So in the New York Stock Exchange, there were, additions made, they new constitution, this, that, and the third. Okay, cool, cool. Uh, it was some Freemasons who signed the agreement. Some Freemasons signed the agreement. Okay, this was not just, I don't want to say regular, not non-regular people, but there were people who were Freemasons who signed this agreement. But one of the things that was really interesting to me is, and if you know anything about planetary magic, right? Planetary magic, astrological magic, then you know that planets, they have color associations, there are numerical associations with planets, right? We're talking about harmonies, we're talking about frequencies, we're talking about various octaves and things like that. So if you know that, right? If you know that, then you will know that this is baked in, even this esoteric energy is baked in even more into um how we deal with money here in the United States. So, who wants to tell me? Okay, because we've established that, and let me bring the chart back up. Let me bring the chart back up. We've established that the New York Stock Exchange is a Taurus. Taurus is an earth sign. It's ruled by Venus, right? Ruled by Venus. Let me bring the chart back in. So, who wants to tell me what's the color of Venus? There's a little hint. There's a little hint. What's the color of Venus? Okay. Those of you, who were on my Patreon, okay, boom. Sleepy V got it. The color of Venus, esoterically, according to the Kabbalah, according to Hermeticism, okay, according to old spiritual traditions like the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, things like that. The color of Venus is green. What color are the is the money in the United States? Our monetary notes are green. Okay. Now, who knows? Going back to planetary magic, going back to some of the information that I put in Patreon, who knows what day of the week is the day of Venus? Who knows that? We've talked about it before. Who knows what day of the week Venus is Venus's day? I know one of you know. Go ahead and say it. Boom, y'all got it. Mm-hmm. Yes, Friday, 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 Friday. And in the United States, when we are talking about quote unquote getting paid, right? Energetically, and for a while, it was associated with what day of the week were you getting paid your green money? That's the color of Venus. On Fridays, you were getting paid on Friday, the day of Venus. Okay. Venus, who makes her home in the sign of Taurus, Venus, whose color is green, whose day is Friday, you were getting paid your money on Friday. Okay. Now, I want to just another tie in, another tie in. Just another tie-in. Another tie-in right here. So let us share this tab instead. Let me remove this. Let me add this one in. Mhm. So going back to it, so we have a lot of Venus energy, a lot of Venus energy, Taurus energy, bull market, like all these connections and associations with our money in the United States. Okay, I'm on USA.gov. Okay, American money. The United States dollar is the official currency of the US and its territories. American paper currency comes in 7 denominations. 7 denominations. 7 is the number of Venus. The esoteric, hermetic Kabbalah number of Venus is 7. We have money in the United States. Our bills in the United States are the color green, which is the color of Venus. Not only that, we have 7 denominations of bills here in the United States, and 7 is the number of Venus. United States has a love affair with the esoteric and with the occult. Okay. 7 is the number of Venus. We have the $1 bill, the $2 bill, $5 bill, $10 bill, $20 bill, 50 and $100 bills. That's 7 bills. 7 is the number of Venus. We have 7 denomination bills that are green, the color of Venus, with the New York Stock Exchange being founded during Taurus season with Sun, Mercury, and Venus all in Taurus. These are not coincidences with the bull, the sign of Taurus, with the bull on Wall Street in the New York financial market, in the New York financial district. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So things are not just, let me take a sip of water. Things are not just, oh, it just came about this type of way. Oh, it just so happened to be that way. No, these people are planning this shit. So many things are planned out, okay, and hidden in layers of things. But you have to know what you're looking at. But to know what you're looking at, you have to go digging through the information. So our money is symbolic of Venus, the planet of luxury, the planet of money. Venus finds herself at home in Taurus, which is an earth sign, stability. Okay. Stability. This is why having finances, having what you need financially, it brings stability. Okay. This is all esoteric. It's all esoteric. It is all esoteric. It's all esoteric. So just remember, just understand that even things that seem innocent, that seem like there is nothing to it, more than likely 9 times out of 10, there is probably an esoteric, occult, hidden, secret, energetic meaning behind things. And this is why some people, it's not necessarily that money is bad, okay? They start getting into the worship of money. When people start worshiping money and money becomes their god or gods or whatnot, that's when you have problems. But absolutely, money in the United States has astrological and esoteric foundations to it. Okay, I can't speak for other countries. I have money in the United States currency, but absolutely it was. Another thing that I was looking up, and I was just like, let's look at something else. So let's look at, okay, let's look here. Let me remove this. So much timing goes into things. So much timing goes into things. But this one was very interesting to me. So we all know the financial district in New York. It's there, right? There are buildings, there are, security exchanges, like all the stuff is there. The New York Stock Exchange building, one of their buildings, they actually made sure to make sure that they would start doing business in this building. In the sign of Taurus again. In the sign of Taurus again. Q, where are you getting this from? Well, let me show you where I'm getting this from. Let me show you where I'm getting this from. Okay, so let me bring in this. So, you can find a lot of different information at auction houses. People, buy up rare documents and stuff like that. Is this the one? Yeah. Okay. So people share, like I said, people buy things or whatnot. So what we have here, and let me try to make this bigger so that you all can see. Okay. So this is from Nate D. Sanders Auctions, fine autographs and memorabilia. Okay. This was a lot that was up for bidding for purchase. Bidding ended in 2013. But this was lot 340, 1903 invitation and program to the opening of the New York Stock Exchange's new building at 18 Broad Street. Okay. So this was the program, the invitation. So if we make this bigger, and it's in, it's in cursive. The New York Stock Exchange, okay, the New York Stock Exchange requests the honor and presence of E.F. Patcher at the ceremonies attending the opening of its new building in the city of New York, Wednesday morning, April the 22nd, 1903 at 11 o'clock. So this is when this building, the new York Stock Exchange, this is when this building was going to be open for business. April 22nd, 1903 at 11 o'clock. Okay. Okay, and you can see it here. Ceremonies attending the opening of the new building of the New York Stock Exchange. Okay. So we can see that there, right? We just saw that. Hey, Nesto Shackles. So that is where that date comes from. So let me bring the chart back in. Let me bring the chart back in. Okay. So again, that's what it was. April 22nd, 1903, 11 a.m. Look at what we have here. Can it be? It absolutely is. Okay. It absolutely is. And when we're looking at a chart, we have to look at the ascendant. The ascendant was in Libra. The ascendant was in Leo. So this is let me make sure you all can see. Okay. So we have the ascendant here in Leo. Leo is ruled by the sun. Okay. The sun is in Taurus. Mercury in Taurus. So we're talking about exchange, New York Stock Exchange. This is why Mercury is prominent in both of these charts. Okay. Mercury is our communications. Mercury is trade and commerce. Like a lot of times people think Jupiter is money. Jupiter is expansion. But when we're talking about trade and commerce, we are talking about Mercury. In this chart and in the last chart, Mercury was in Taurus, same as the sun. They made sure, okay, this was happening. And this was the beginning of Taurus. The sun is at 1 degree of Taurus. So when things are established, that energy carries on. So the New York Stock Exchange's energy is absolutely Venusian, absolutely money coded, because no one wants to buy into stocks and lose money. No one wants to buy into stocks and lose money. Absolutely. 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 This is Venusian money coded. The building, the New York Stock Exchange, our money having the Venusian Taurus occult esoteric foundation. It is all connected. All of it is connected. Okay. All of it is connected. I actually find it quite interesting that Jupiter is in the 8th house. Jupiter is in Pisces in the 8th house. Okay. Jupiter and Pisces go together real bad. But in the 8th house of debt and other people's money. I find this quite interesting. But absolutely the focal point of the New York Stock Exchange, this building, our money, it's Venusian Taurus coded. Okay. I find it so funny because, you know, the zodiacal stereotype is that Tauruses love money and they love luxury. Okay. And that they're going to be about their money. Well, I know my husband, Mr. Hoodoo, is. I can't tell you about nobody else, but he's definitely about his money. He absolutely is a Taurus sun. So, what do you think of this? Just something for you all to ponder on. Like I said, we weren't going to be here long. Something for everyone to ponder on. Okay. Because things are absolutely more than what they seem. And once you see things, you can't unsee them because again, um, at the stock exchange, the New York Stock Exchange and at Wall Street, okay, you have this bull. The bull is there, and here's a picture of it. Another picture of it. They didn't put the bear up there. They made sure they put the bull up there. So yeah, that's the bull in the background there. Mm-hmm. 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 Sweet as a silhouette. Thank you so much for being a member for 19 months. She said, loving this stream. I'm glad you're here, girl. I'm glad I'm gonna be doing more streams like this because I need for people to understand the esoteric, the alchemy, the occult, the magic, the spiritual, all of that stuff. It's baked into everything in our society. But if you don't know what you're looking at, you won't be able to pick it out. Sexy RN said, playing in our faces. Playing in our faces. The Merrill Lynch bull. The Merrill Lynch. Let's look at the Merrill Lynch bull, because we already know we have denominations, our money in denominations of seven, right? We have seven different denominations when it comes to dollar bills in the United States. Seven is the number of Venus. Okay, seven is the number of Venus. You can go look it up yourself. Seven is the number of Venus. So let's look at Merrill Lynch. Let's look. Let's see what images. Oh, let's share this tab instead. Oh, look at Merrill Lynch, the bull. Merrill Lynch, the bull. Merrill Lynch Global Wealth Management. Wealth is what? Money, assets. Look at this. Look, we got the bull right here. The same one. Merrill Lynch. You have to ask yourself, what are these representations when we are seeing these images? Right? The representations when we are seeing images, iconography. Okay. What is it? Okay. This is what this is. This is exactly what this is. CBB said one of the largest mutual bond companies in the country. Yes. It's there. It's absolutely there. Because someone posts my my email. I see good sis. I see my good sis growing process. She asked for it, but I'll just type it in the chat. So just for shits and giggles, what is the Kabbalah number of Venus? The esoteric number of Venus. The esoteric number of Venus, it is 7. It's 7. Okay. It's 7. Let me just pull up the tree of life real quick. Let me see. Is this one better? No, this is Facebook. Let's see, is this one a better one? Let's go here. But yeah. Yeah. Netzah is Venus. It's Venus. Especially when we're talking about planetary. Especially when we're talking about the planetary so again, planetary magic, because we looked at the astrological chart. The astrological chart was Taurus. Taurus is ruled by Venus. The Venus square, the Venus Camilla. Okay, this is the Venus square. Everything in the square is, you add, subtract, and multiply and divide. It's a 7x7 table. Okay, so a 7x7, that is it's Venus. It's Venus, okay? So you can go look up Kabbalah squares yourself. But let me see if I can get a better one for you. Okay, so let's go here. So planetary magic squares. Every planet has a number and a vibration. The number of Saturn is 3. Okay, the number of Jupiter is 4. You see this Jupiter? This is a 4x4 table. Okay. But when we get to Venus, okay, the magic square of Venus, this is a 7x7 table. The number of Venus is 7. Like I said, we have 7 denominational bills: 1, 2, 5, 10, 20, 50, and 100. Okay. Okay. So Venus, it's a table of 7, 7, 7, 7. So, like I said, thank you so much, Sleepy Bee. Thank you so much, Starry Eyed. I appreciate you. But yeah, so these things, okay, and I didn't really teach you all magic squares. Maybe I should. Um, magic squares, great to work with. I've worked with them before. But yeah, all of this is planetary, astrological, magical, occult energy. Okay. So, like I said, make no mistake about it. Make no mistake about it. The world around us is spiritually coded. Starry Eye says, makes me think about matrices. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, that's what it is. It's a matrix. It's one that you can work with. So yeah. That was just something that I was thinking about earlier today. And I knew, but I had to go a little bit into it myself. I started looking up the names of the 24 people who signed the Buttonwood agreements that created the New York Stock Exchange. I've seen at least one name that's a Freemason. We've already seen Mr. Pope, he who wrote that poem, talking about the bull market, the bear market, bringing in the gods and goddesses, okay, paganism or whatever. He was a Freemason, okay? He's a Freemason. And if I read correctly, presidents are still getting sworn in with the Freemason Bible that the first president of the United States was sworn in on. So talk about relics. Talk about relics. So, like I said, the world around us, it's levels to this shit. It's absolute levels to this shit. Absolute levels to this. So, yeah. Does anybody have any comments or remarks before we get out of here? Okay. I don't think there are. Like I said, I just want to bring y'all something real quick. Just wanted to bring y'all something real quick. Okay. All right. Starry Eyed says, I gotta listen from the beginning because ushering in new guys with this bull market. I mean, they might be. They might be trying to usher in new guys, but please understand that they are paying attention to the astrology and they are embedding things that they do, things that they make, things that they build. They are embedding spiritual concepts. Okay, astrology, magic, Kabbalah, Hermeticism. They are embedding these energies, these frequencies into some of everything that is done. Okay. And absolutely with the founding of the United States, absolutely with our money, absolutely with the New York Stock Exchange, absolutely with different buildings that are being built. Okay. Absolutely. Sexy RN says, so the date we talked about, my mom said I was between 6 and 7. Astrology is real. It absolutely is real. Okay. So, and I'm not going to share your business on here, Sexy RN, but just know I was talking about something with Sexy RN and I was able to pinpoint a childhood injury of hers through the astrology. Okay. Through the astrology. So, Like I said, if y'all ever want, an astrological natal chart reading with me, go ahead and feel free to inquire. But yeah, I absolutely, Sexy RN, she just said it right here. I absolutely was able to pinpoint a childhood injury um that happened to Sexy RN looking at astrology. So boom. Okay. Okay. So like I said, it's real. CN1 says there are so many layers for what's already established. Absolutely. Absolutely. And there are layers, layers, layers. Like I said, remember our stream where I talked about the day of the inauguration this year? Remember our stream when I talked about the astrology of, the United States Declaration of Independence chart, the Sibley chart. Okay. I talked about that. I explained it. There are layers to this shit. Absolute layers. Absolute layers. Starry Eyes said, do the natal reading, y'all. That's what Starry Eyes said. I ain't say it. She said it. Do the natal reading. So, what do you all think about this series? What do you think about this series? Because I found out so many different things, and it's just random information that I always come across, that I always find, and I'm just like, nobody will be interested in that. But I found out so much. I think I'm going to continue this series. Okay, I think I'm going to continue this series. Every time I find out something or I pull up something and I pull up the receipts. Okay, because a lot of shit is planned out here. Same thing that happened to you can't tell me that Charlie Kirk Memorial, you can't tell me that they didn't know that it was a solar eclipse that day. I don't care what no one says. The fact that that man got killed in between two eclipses. Okay, remember I told you all eclipses are often associated with the rise and fall of political persons, the rise and fall of leadership, right? Whoever it is, that's just whoever it is. But absolutely, I don't care what no one says. I don't care what anyone says. The powers that be that had something to do with that. That man was killed between eclipses, and that man's memorial, okay, held on the day of the solar eclipse. I don't care what anyone says. Because me and the rest of the astrologers was like, I know you fucking lying. Not on the same day of the eclipse. And let me tell you something about that. What they were trying to do, they absolutely were harvesting energy. Not only were they trying to make this event the next quote unquote, this generation's energetic shock, right? To carry that energetic shock. But the deification, okay? The deification of trying to deify him. Okay. Try to deify. They wanted to make sure that that energy would stick around, that it would be potent. The deification. Okay. The fact that this was something I've heard people from around the world talking about this. Okay. The deification. Mm-hmm. Then you have the plane, the energetics of both sides. Okay, Charlie Kirk and George Floyd sharing the same birthday. Mm-hmm. That is quote unquote the black and the white, the duality, the binary. George Floyd was black, Charlie Kirk was white. Absolutely, people. Absolutely, people. Absolutely. Seeing one says, I enjoy it. Okay, girl. Starry Eyes said, even this past eclipse, accurate to my natal reading. Okay. The BB says, I love it. Please do. Okay, please continue. Okay. She said, drop them little tidbits on us. Okay. Absolutely. That was a sacrifice. Absolutely a sacrifice. Okay, trying to deify. Trying to deify. Okay, trying to deify. And they still are. The baby is starting to unravel. Okay, it's starting to unravel and the secret's trying to come out, baby. So it is what it is. But like I said, I just wanted to share this information with you all. I will definitely be doing this series with you all, explaining things to you all. I will definitely keep doing it. I will definitely keep doing this. So, with that being said, let me see what Starry Eye says. Starry Eye says, so does that mean to look for someone or something's partnering up dealing with finances? That's the Venus and Libra energy. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Starry Eye, text me. Starry Eye got my number. Text me, girl. We'll talk about it. But yeah. So I'm gonna get out of here. I love you all. I will keep this series going. I will keep this series going because like I said, the shit is real out here. Shit is real out here. And the esoteric, you know, it's hiding in plain sight. Hiding in plain sight. Hiding in plain sight. So I love you all. I'm gonna get out of here. I may come back tomorrow, may not come back tomorrow. It's a 50-50 if I'll be back on Thursday. So just to let you all know, 50-50 chance. So I might see you all tomorrow. So stay tuned to the space. Turn on your notifications. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Turn on your notifications so that you'll know whenever I go live or drop a video. Thank you so much for being here, for spending time with me. Thank you to my clients. Thank you to my coterie. I love all y'all. Okay. All right, y'all. I'm gonna see y'all in the next one. Bye.